Okay, welcome to this session on standard usage reporting and analytics within EBSCOadmin. I'm Richard Crooks, manager for the training services team based in the UK and supporting the Nordics and Africa. So reports and statistics are, of course, an effective management tool which you can use to monitor EBSCO's database or, if applicable, EBSCO Discovery Service usage at your institution, organization, also within the NHS. The usage reports you can access can be used for also internal reporting, can be shared with resource donors, or used to refine training or promotional needs. So this 30-minute webinar will introduce you to accessing and scheduling standard usage reports in EBSCOadmin, as well as reviewing usage analytics. So in terms of the objectives for this short webinar, I hope that by the end of the session, you'll be able to amend or add EBSCO administrator accounts. And I appreciate for some, this is just a refresher. You'll also be able to access and view the usage reports and analytics. And also you'll be able to schedule regular usage reports as well. And also be able to find additional support information within or in relation to EBSCOadmin and reports and statistics. So I hope that's what you're expecting from this session. So in terms of just to recap access, you will need access to EBSCOadmin, so eadmin.ebscos.com. So the majority of you may well have an account already, or you may be looking to delegate account access to your colleagues, etc. If you do not currently have an account within EBSCOadmin, then please contact your local EBSCO account team. So this is the EBSCOadmin dashboard, of course, and on here you'll find we've got EBSCOadmin security that will give you the access, if enabled, to set up roles for your colleagues and also to amend even your own. So if you've got EBSCOadmin security access within the dashboard for EBSCOadmin, that would allow you to set up roles. Of course, reports and statistics are available through the tab that you see highlighted on this screenshot. In terms of the roles themselves, you can see here on this screenshot of the EBSCOadmin dashboard for this particular element, there is the area of reports statistics. Of course, you'll need right access for that area in order to set up usage reports, review them, as well as review usage analytics. So if you are a site administrator and you currently have access to this, but you have a colleague who would like to take responsibility for this or to support you in that, then you need to go through EBSCOadmin security and assign the roles accordingly. So we'll look at that live in a moment. Okay, so just wanted to highlight that. And of course, that will take you to, once you go to report statistics, it will take you to the following page, which is where we'll go live shortly. So the link there, report statistics, takes you to this page. And on the left-hand side, you'll see the tile relating to EBSCOhost and EDS, otherwise known as the EBSCO Discovery Service, which for yourselves in the NHS in England will be the NHS Knowledge and Library Hub. So we may have some others outside of England, and you may have EBSCO Discovery Service as an individual organisation. But for the NHS in England, it is the Knowledge and Library Hub. So here you'll see the usage reports and usage analytics are available through this particular page. I won't go through the remaining screenshots because obviously I'm going to look at the live demo primarily. So I'm going to go there now and we'll switch screens here to my desktop and we'll proceed with the demonstration. So let me just switch over here to my desktop. So now you should see the dashboard. This is for the NHS England, which I think I'll use as an example today. So we've got EBSCOadmin. This is the standard dashboard that you would see. Obviously, you have your trust indicated or your organization, etc. And what I wanted to bring you to, as I showed you in the PowerPoint, is the EBSCOadmin security option on the top right there, just above the links to various elements of EBSCOadmin. So if you just click on that link, EBSCOadmin security, it'll take you to a list of accounts. Now, because I'm going through NHS England, this is a consortia account, so it is listing various trusts, various librarians who have responsibility for EBSCOadmin. So just to point out then, if we take one of these and go to the roles that have been assigned, this is obviously a particular librarian here, but you can see the roles from authentication, customized services on the left there, database title lists, and so on. And of course, the one we're focusing on is the reports and statistics, the last but one for the bottom of my page here, just above my taskbar. So you can see it highlighted right now. So this is where you would obviously have right access to ensure that you can both access and schedule usage reports. Again, probably the majority of you already have this set up in this way, but for those who don't, or those who may be new to this, just wanted to clarify this. Now, if you are going to assign that, or if you need to check the right column for that, then you need to be an administrator. As a site administrator for this particular person, they can do that. And EBSCOadmin security is also enabled as well. So that role must also be enabled for you to be able to assign administrators. So you'll see this option to add new administrator here. So on the left, so click on that link, and then you'll have the online form to complete in order to set up a sub-administrator. Now, we've obviously got consortia access here, but you'll be looking at site administrator. The display name is simply the name of the person, so their full name. User ID will be their initial or initials and surname primarily. Obviously, if it's a very common name, then you may need to be a bit more imaginative. But basically, it's the full name, display name. User ID is the initials and surname, last name, and then email address will be whatever would normally be used. So essentially, once you complete those fields, so with a view to delegate access, you then submit that, and then the appropriate person will be notified via email, and they can create the password to access EBSCOadmin. Once they've done that, you would go back into EBSCOadmin security, and you would assign the particular roles and responsibilities. So of course you can switch off certain elements like authentication, customized services if it's not appropriate to that person. Okay, but that gives you just an overview of setup or amending, site access, etc. So in order to make sure that you can run reports and so on. So again, any comments or questions about that, please do send them through to me, or we can follow up post session offline. So customized services, of course, is the default tab you come to when you access EBSCOadmin, but we will now go to reports and statistics. So here you'll see again a mirror image essentially of what you saw on the slide deck. And there we're looking at is, of course, EBSCOhost and EDS. So whether you have access to EDS or not, you would still go to this area. And you see we do have the counter release 5 reports as well. We won't be looking at that today, but we've got information that we can supply on that if you need more information about this. But you see a variety of reporting options are available on this screen, depending on the EBSCO products that you have access to. So for example, we've got ebooks there as well. We've got the full text finder reports for the link resolver, publication finder service, which some of you may be using. We've got search analytics, so you've got top search terms report as well. So you want to see how users or what they're searching for, you can check that out. And of course, for any reports that are downloaded to be downloaded or have been downloaded, they'll be tracked in that area. Likewise with scheduled reports. So let's go to the usage reports now. Okay, so we're going to click on that link here. So the standard usage reports screen gives you the ability to generate reports based on the following. So you have these report types: database usage, so it could be like some Medline complete, interface usage, EBSCOhost, discovery, link activity, so you're linking to or from various EBSCOhost databases, etc. Login usage, how users are accessing the resources through OpenAthens, through Shibboleth, through other means, personal user authentication, and so on, and title usage, so accessing the publication titles within given resources. Then we have the sites here. So obviously this consortia, so you've got multiple sites here. We've got, let's see, these again, these relates to the consortia access in this instance, but we've got databases here. So this is where you can specify which databases you want to track in terms of usage. So you can select all databases, this is by default, or go to all subscribed databases and select view here. Now, in order to narrow this down, you can click remove all. And given there's a lot of resources here, you can actually search for a given database. So for example, if I want to look at CINAHL, then I can just choose this one. So I can run database usage reporting on CINAHL and apply the changes here. What I can then do is specify which interface. Are we looking at accessing CINAHL through Discovery Service or through EBSCO Research Databases? So we do it through EBSCOhost as an individual database. We have the reporting period, so you can choose the current month, the last 3 months, 6 months, etc. Or you can set a custom range. Now notice you've got the context-sensitive help menu for each of these elements as well, which you can refer to. Okay, so you can limit your report usage. And we'll go for custom range in this instance. So we want a full year, so we go from October 2022 to October 2023. We apply this. Then there's the analysis grouping. So you've got data by database, site, interface, group, profile, etc. So we'll look at the database. Okay. Again, you can hover over the question mark there, the help menu, to review what is to be expected in terms of the level of detail included in the report. Now there's the count aggregation as well, so you get total figures by year, by month, etc. So again, you may want a monthly breakdown of usage to see how things are changing over that period of time. You can also determine the metric view. By default, all totals only, or you may want a detailed breakdown. Again, if you hover over the question mark there, then you'll see that would include a breakdown between the HTML full text, PDF full text that are being accessed, etc. Now, at this stage, we may want to just download the report. So you can see the download option for delivery is selected here. So you just create report for download. And you can see that this request is being processed. Okay. So once that's done, you will then go to the download reports tab. So you have the initial report page, download reports tab there. And then you can see here, this one is currently in progress. Again, you can see the report period, the date. So 9th of November, it's completed. And then you have the choice of formats, tab limited or Excel. So you can choose whichever is the preferred format there. So whenever you create a usage report, it's going to be stored and you download it. It's going to be accessible through the download reports tab. Okay. So we'll look at another one here. So let's go to the user interface here, just to look at this one. So this time, for example, if we want to go to all selected, and then you can see we've got like Diomed for those who subscribe to Diomed, we've got Discovery Service, EBSCO's database, etc. So if we go for remove these and go for Discovery, then apply the changes, and then you can follow the similar prompts. You can look at the last, say, 6 months, for example, from May to October, the analysis level interface, or it could be by site, group, etc. Then count aggregation, again by month. You can go for a detailed breakdown and then download again. Or you can simply email these reports. So if you go for the email option, then you'd enter the email address, and notice here you can add multiple addresses here. Okay, so just use the comma. Unlike the EBSCO interface in general or Discovery, typically use the semicolon, but here you can use the comma. And then, so I can add my address here, for example. Okay, and then the subject, so I could put it EDS, for example, or in your case, Knowledge Library Hub. It could be a one-time email, or it could be, monthly, quarterly, bi-yearly, or annually, yearly. So you can determine the frequency of the reports. I'll leave this as a one-time at this time. Then you've got Excel by default or tab limited if preferred. And then you would just click email report. And then you can see there's confirmation that the report has been submitted. Now, as with the download reports, there's the downloads tab. You also have the scheduled reports here. So if you click that link, then that should appear here, as you see here. So there's the interface usage report, okay, for the last month, etc. And it expires in August 2026. Okay, so you can, if you don't need that, you just delete that from here, or you can go in. And actually, this has already been set up by someone else, so mine's not yet listed on there. But again, you could go in and not remove any of these. You can see who set this up and when, etc. And you can modify this, as you can see. You can change the expiration date for these as well, and the report format if you need to. So this is live, so I'm not making any changes to those or remove any of those. Okay. In fact, I send that as a one. I think because I sent that as a one-off email, it may not be listed there at this time. So that's just a couple of examples. Database interface usage. We've got, of course, link activity as well. So link activity reports capture statistics on visits to or from a specified target. That means when you're linking from one to another. So this could show you how many times users of your library website linked into an EBSCO database. into EBSCO databases. It can also show how many times your users linked from EBSCO host databases to your local custom links or through to your custom links to other targets, etc., as it were. So when you're going from the library website, for example, to your library website, then these are the linking reports. So you can see link out by default, link in. So that's when you're going from from your library website into EBSCO host. If you're going from EBSCO host to another target, then it'll be link out. Okay. So again, you'll see more information on the help menu there. And again, in this instance, you'll be doing it by interface. So click select view and then choose, for example, if you go to EBSCO's databases, so that includes CNL, Medline, etc. Apply the changes. Again, you can choose the reporting period. So it could be the current year, for example, and then the analysis level. Okay. So here we're looking at link out, not link in, and then by year, by month. And again, you can download this. Okay. Or you can email. So again, with email, you can enter the email address, you can specify the subject, and then determine the frequency. So it could be monthly, quarterly, etc. So you just choose the period, again, the reporting period. So we go for the last 12 months here. And then you can start from December, and then you can expire on the 20, this can expire on the 20, in December 2026, or maybe just make it 2025, for example. Okay, so you can specify the expiration date for these reports and choose the format. So if you want to go tab limited this time, you can. And then you would email the report. Okay, so this would be scheduling the report. In this case, of course, you need to enter your email address as well regarding link activity. So once you're satisfied with the parameters of these reports, you can then schedule them. And then if you want to adjust them, make any changes to these, then you go to scheduled reports here, and then you go in and edit these accordingly. Again, this is a link activity that was set up previously, and then you can make changes there. You can add other recipients of the emails as well, so other reports, as it were. Okay, the final one I'll show you, or there's a couple here I'll show you also, the login usage report. So this relates to capturing statistics on how users are accessing your EBSCO resources, etc. So again, you've got the login methods. It could be Open Athens, of course, client IP if appropriate, browser and operating system can also be tracked, and mobile device as well. So if you select any one of these, for example, browser here, then you'll see there's also the option to include the browser version as well. Okay, so again, this is related to login usage. Again, you can choose the interface. So it's at an interface level as opposed to database level. Again, you just remove and select the appropriate one. For example, discovery, and choose that. Again, you've got the reporting period, so you can do custom. Again, apply, and then you can, by month, include the browser version, and download or email, whichever is appropriate. Okay, so again, these are key reports just to see how users are accessing your resources. Okay. And then the last one I'll show you on this page before we go to analytics is the title usage report. So essentially, title usage will show you or track, how often users are accessing key publications within given databases. So if, again, you want to look at a specified database, just select all subscribed databases, select view, remove all, and given that there's a lot of resources here, we can actually search for one. So let's go for example, Medline in this case. So we've got Medline here. Obviously, if you subscribe to Medline Complete, that will be featured there, or if you have Medline Ultimate as well. Apply the changes. Again, choose the reporting period. So again, maybe the custom range again. Okay, apply. And then you've got totals only or detailed metrics. Of course, the analysis levels title here. And then you could download or email, and again, schedule this, monthly, for example. Okay, and then specify the expiration date, etc. So we'll go for, again, December 2025 and Excel. So again, some are limited to restricted to interface only. Some are more database specific, as you see with this report as well. Okay, so whether you're you're working your way through the database usage, interface usage, link activity, etc. If you're downloading them, they will be collated in the download reports section here. If they are scheduled, then they'll be listed here. Okay. So again, you know where to go back to for the source of that information, as it were. And if you need to make any changes, modifications, or if you need to include other recipients to receive those reports, then you can add their details as well. Okay, so again, any questions, comments, feedback would be welcome by the Teams chat. And if I need to unmute you, I can do so if you post a message in the chat feature. I can respond accordingly. Now, also, before we go on to the usage analytics, just to let you know, of course, you do have the tutorial link here as well. That will take you to the EBSCO Connect site, and you'll see here we have got a dedicated tutorial for accessing reports and statistics, okay, with the associated PowerPoint. So again, if you want to review further information outside of this webinar before you can review it post-session, then you've got this short tutorial which will cover accessing these report statistics as well. In addition to that, we've got the glossary of terms as well. Some of these terms may not be familiar to you. I mentioned the link in, link out options. So if you go to L here, you'll see there's a reference to both these. So link-ins are logged in EBSCO's data statistics when a user links to an EBSCO host query, article, journal from an external website. So linking in is from an external website into EBSCO host. Link out is the reverse. Okay, so link outs are logged when the user links from an EBSCO citation to the full text of the article in another database using smart linking or to relate the information on another website, custom link. So again, this is a useful source of information to clarify some of the elements that relate to report statistics within EBSCOadmin. So again, that's on the EBSCO Connect site, and that's linked directly from within the standard usage reports page. If we go back to report statistics, then we'll look at usage analytics. So you can see the link there, again, under the EBSCO host EDS section. So this analytics screen offers a number of reports, so 3 reports essentially. Again, there's the context says the help menu there for more information. You have database usage, interface usage, and login usage in this case. So by default, we come to the monthly usage trend graph for database usage for this account. Obviously, this is consortium against multiple sites here. Notice on the right-hand column, you've got the summary box there and with the figures. And if you hover over the line graph here, you go to the different points there, you'll see the figures on the right changing according to the time frame of this usage report. So the usage report plots the last 30 months of usage for each of these reports. So it's database, interface, or login, and you see the figures are detailed on the right-hand side. Okay. Now with these reports, a number of things that you can do with them. You can select the download options. You can download this in PNG, JPEG, or PDF formats, whichever is preferred. So if you want to incorporate that into a presentation to stakeholders, etc. You can annotate as well, so you can highlight key elements, key points in the trend graph if you need to, so you can add text, and you can also print them as well. Now, what you can also do is remove elements. So for example, in this instance, we've got database sessions and searches federated and automated, which relates to discovery. If you want to focus on that aspect, then you can remove database sessions and just focus, and likewise with the other ones, you can remove those and just focus on a particular area, okay, as you see here. Now, the information here is also shown below as well. So if you scroll down, you'll see the report grid below. So notice, of course, Discovery features multiple partner databases like ABC Clio, etc. So again, it's going to be multiple sources listed there, but you can focus your search for a database. For example, we look at CINAHL here. Then you can see CINAHL through Discovery or CINAHL through EBSCO's databases, etc. And you can see the figures there for the database sessions, regular searches, etc., and so on. Now, with searches federated and automated, that relates to Discovery specifically, so there's 0 here. So you can remove that column if you wish. So for example, this one here, and focus on those other areas, okay? So you can remove various elements here, like link out requests, full text requests, and so on, if preferred. And then you can download in Excel or tab limited format. So if you want a spreadsheet with this information, you can download it from this page. Okay. So you can look at that. So you can, you know, as far as database level goes. If we can also look at the interface usage as well. So for likes of Discovery, Dynamed, EBSCO, etc. So we'll now go to that now. You can see the monthly usage trend graph again. Again, the last 13 months, you've got the summary box there. Again, you can remove elements here, for example, link out requests, remove abstract requests, and so on. Again, if you want to focus on non-discovery, then you could do that here, etc. You can also, again, view the report grid. And as before, as you can see, Dynamed there, Dynametics, Dynamic Health, EBSCO Discovery Service, EBSCO's research databases. And again, you can filter here. So if you're looking at EBSCO host databases, then you can focus on those here. Again, you can adjust the columns and focus on access there and download into Excel or tab limited format as needed. Okay, so you have that functionality to make adjustments to this area, and you can also look at all elements if preferred as well. So you could download, if any of these, you know, you could download the complete listing if those products apply to you as well. So that's the interface usage report. And then you have the final one here is the login usage. And whereas we looked at login method in terms of the operating system browser, etc., with standard user reports, you can also review how users are accessing your resources as well. So this could be important because it could also highlight, and I'm not sure why this is not coming up now, unfortunately. I hope we can go back to this now. If not, then what I might do, yeah, okay, that's usage reports, so login usage. If doesn't, I might switch to another site if this doesn't show up. I will edit it if needed. So let's just wait for this to show. So one of the things here is that, yeah, so this is showing now. Okay, so you can see login method here. So now this is for NHS England. So this includes, of course, access to the Knowledge and Library Hub. And you can see guest access. So 40% of users are accessing these resources as a guest user, as opposed to 26% through Open Athens, and then 32% a combination of other means. Okay, could be personal user authentication, IP address originally, if appropriate. But you see 40%, that means obviously a lot are using the resources without going further into the full text content, as it were. So again, this is where you may want to consider raising awareness of authentication methods to highlight the value of authenticating to get into the value-added content, in other words, the full text content that you've paid for subscriptions, etc. So this could highlight a need to raise awareness of authenticating with Open Athens in this scenario, okay? And you can see the trend graph below. There's also the summary there, and you can see the different types of authentication. So you've got Open Athens clearly indicated, IP address, personal user accounts, shibboleth, single sign-on, and so on. And again, you see these numbers changing based on the line graph here. So obviously yellow is guest access. So obviously that's been creeping up somewhat since December last year. It's been fairly static or standard. It's gone up slightly in October. In fact, quite a bit there. And you can see kind of the bit of the dip of the Open Athens there access. So again, you can review those figures. You can also again download this graph, as it were, and in the various formats, also annotate if you need to, or print as required. Okay, the next area is the device, and not surprisingly, perhaps, although mobile access is touted as increasing, etc., the still majority of users are using or accessing these resources via desktop. So again, 96% are accessing these resources via desktop, okay, as opposed to just under 4% there. Now with device, you can also see the kind of devices as well. So majority, of course, of 51% through iPhones, etc. We've got 12% through Android, then there's iPad, etc. So it gives you a breakdown, a detailed breakdown of the kind of devices that users are using to access these resources in terms of mobile access in this case. In terms of operating system, unsurprisingly, again, majority through Windows, almost 84%, Mac OS 6.8 there. And if you click View More, you'll see the trend graph and also the operating systems in question. So again, Windows by far the majority, Mac OS, unknown, maybe a later version of that. I'm not too sure. I think that will just be something which has not yet been earmarked in terms of the specific operating system. iOS there, Android, Chrome OS, etc., and so on. Even Ubuntu there as well, also featured. So again, different methods of operating systems used to access these resources. And then finally, we have the browser. A number of years ago, as you can appreciate, Internet Explorer was top of the list, and then you would have seen Chrome and Firefox. Now, of course, Edge is beginning to edge in, as it were, 50% using Edge. Chrome only 30% now, so that's dropped quite a bit actually. If we looked over the years of these sessions going from Internet Explorer to Chrome, now it looks like it's going to Edge for Windows there, as you see, or at least 50% anyway, and then there's Safari, Firefox, and so on as well. So it gives you an idea as to how users are accessing these resources. Okay, so anyway, that is just a review of the analytics page. So just to let you know, as we begin to wrap up here, we've got the help menu on the top right toolbar. So that will take you to, in this case, EBSCO Connect, and you'll see various links there in terms of information. So for example, best practices here. I have included some in the PowerPoint, by the way, in the slide deck. You can, of course, go to the home page of EBSCO Connect, and you'll see the tutorials here. And on here, you'll find the tutorials for administrators, and that includes accessing reports and statistics, which you saw earlier, which is linked directly from EBSCOadmin. And we also have scheduling reports here as well. So again, if you're looking to schedule, set up quarterly, monthly reports, again, more instructions on this here. And we also have a course for yourselves as library staff members. We have EBSCO Academy Learning Management System here. There are additional videos that you can watch here. So for example, you can choose from, let's see, EBSCOadmin, and then you'll see additional tutorials. And some you might find some on reports statistics. This has probably been updated recently. Okay, so some references there. Okay, yeah, so there's one on schedule reports there, as you can see. So again, worth exploring some of these as well. These are in English as well, but again, designed to assist you with getting to grips with EBSCOadmin and reports and statistics. And we have the e-learning paths here with various elements. So you would have seen these before in other sessions. And there are, of course, reference to these individual resources like EBSCO Discovery Service here, and you might find some additional EBSCOadmin related sessions as well. Okay, so I'm going to just go back to the PowerPoint now. I will mention, of course, that we do have these links again. So the tutorials that I just showed you, the help sheet on titled usage reports is also included. Also, how to change administrator roles. So I did refer to that at the beginning of this session. There's also a guide to understanding reports and statistics within Discovery. And again, for those in England, this would relate to the Knowledge and Library Hub. But of course, you've also got the Service Desk portal provided by NHS England for additional questions, information as well. And again, there's the EBSCO Connect with the tutorials. And we also have, of course, our training resources portal, which is the Stats Discovery portal, training resources with additional information, training videos, recordings, upcoming sessions, and support information as well. So as I close here, I just want to mention, some just key points really. Obviously, you can access these reports through eadmin.ebscos.com. If you don't have an account currently, you may be delegated, or you may need to contact your local account representative at EBSCO. You can add or amend or add sub-administrators, as we've seen. You can schedule reports, so whether it's monthly, bi-monthly, etc. Review analytics for database, interface, and login methods as well. That will highlight perhaps areas where you need to promote access, for example, through Open Athens. And then also, for more information, visit connect.ebsco.com for those tutorials outside the ones I've already listed in this slide deck. Thank you for joining this session. I hope it's been useful, at least if not a refresher, then at least it gives you a taste of what to expect in terms of user reports and analytics within EBSCOadmin as it stands currently in support of Discovery and also EBSCO databases and of course the likes of Diamond as well if appropriate. So again, by all means, feel free to contact me directly at rcrooks@ebsco.com if you need further support or training. And of course, do visit the EBSCO Connect page for more information as well. Thank you.